What's up everybody? Welcome back to PRP. Today we're going to look a little bit more at some gun belts. So a little while ago I made a review on a couple of gun belts, and today I'm going to show you some different ones that I've actually gotten a lot of comments on, people wanting to look at these different gun belts. So these are made by Core Essentials. They got in contact with me and wanted me to take a look at their belts. So these are the Core 2.0 gun belts. They come in a couple different materials, and they have different buckles right there. I got these a few weeks back and I've been wearing them every day since. For the most part, I will say right off the bat, for those of you that just want to know, these are very, very good belts. I've been very impressed. One problem with most gun belts is you don't want to wear them out and about to nicer events or occasions or things like that. Usually it's a very chunky, thick belt. And these ones aren't that way. These ones look like they aim towards the fashion side a lot more. So what came with the bag when they got to me is this belt bag that you can take with you. Instructions on how to size your belt and a couple of Allen wrenches. The first thing I should tell you about these belts is that they have a patented track line. They call these track belts, and it's because they've got this track on the inside that's sewn in right here. And so when you slide it into these buckles, it just clips. See that? Clicks right in there, and then it stays. So you've got this tiny tab right here. When you push that tab in, that's what releases it. And then you can pull the belt out. This isn't the first time. I'm sure most, if not all of you, have seen a belt like this. But there are things about this belt that are better than what you know on track kinds of belts. Let me show you one right here. Very common one is the mission belts. They have that existing track, same idea, you push the button and they slide right out. Big difference here is, one, they do not have any stiffener inside. Now if you remember my last video, I would not buy a gun belt that doesn't have some sort of stiffener in it. You need a stiffener in it to hold these up, because regular leather belts, they just don't hold up like these kind of belts do. But another big thing that they've changed with these 2.0s is that on original belts they have a little, I don't know what you'd call it, spikes. So you can slide the belt in there, and then they have these spikes when you close it, and that's how it's held in place. Problem is, over time, I've had this just flip up. It's gotten really loose and it just flips out of place, and so you'll notice you'll lose a belt buckle. These, on the other hand, have a very, very deep set right here that these sink into, but they also have these two screws that sink in to the belt. So once you get this sized and fitted to you, you slide that in there and you can sink that in. So these Allen wrenches are what you will use to tighten or loosen those set screws right there to hold this in place. So you can loosen these screws up like so, pop that up, and you can see that these are much beefier spikes that go in to the belt. So this is where it's been sunk in by those screw sets, and here's where those spikes go. So this isn't going to pull out. Very stable, very sturdy, not going anywhere. I would advise, when I first put it on, I sunk the screws in first, and then I couldn't get this closed. So I would advise to close that first, because it pulls the belt back slightly, and then set your screws in place. Let me show you on the inside what these look like. So when they come in various lengths. I can't remember, the tactical one comes longer, it's like 52 inches or something like that, and the leather one comes a little bit smaller. But I cut into a section of the piece that I took out, and they do have this stiffener on the inside. They call it their power core, and it's their own technology. It's not steel, so you don't have a steel band on the insides of these belts. You have this weird, I don't know what it is. It feels really tough, but you can bend it, but it's not going to bend down, I guess is the best way I know how to say it. It's just a really tough kind of material. So on the tactical style, you have this woven, material here, you've got the paracord, and then you have a leather backing on it. The leather is obviously just two pieces of leather that are sandwiching that. Okay? They claim that they've coated the leather with a waterproof material, a waterproof substance, so that it doesn't get scratches and nicks, and to be honest, it hasn't. I've been wearing it, you guys can see, every day. Past few weeks, there's really no noticeable marks in it. They come with a variety of different belt buckles. These are the two they just sent me, and I like them. I like them both. When it comes to comparing these with a field belt, something that you would wear at the range or something like that, that's not what these are intended for. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at purchasing one of these belts, as this isn't something that you want to take out to the range and carry a whole bunch of magazines and guns on. This is more of a belt that you would wear out amongst friends or out to events or things like that. They're meant to look more stylish. They're meant to look a lot more low-key than some of the other belts that are on the market. Meant to look like a regular belt. They're 1.5 inches wide, they're 0.2 inches thick. The leather and the tactical style have a recommendation to hold different sizes of guns. So the leather belt is made specifically for smaller and medium-sized guns. It says it can hold up to 6 pounds, and you know, a lot of guns aren't going to be really above 6 pounds. Even when they're fully loaded, you have to have a decent-sized gun to be above 6 pounds. But I did notice I was carrying around a Beretta PX4 Storm on it, fully loaded, so it had 17 bullets in the magazine, and I could feel it. I don't know if I'd say it was sagging, but it did. It kind of bent slightly. It wasn't as tough as other belts I've had, which I didn't really expect it to be. It's something I expected to have a much smaller gun on, because usually it's something you might wear with a suit. The tactical belt, on the other hand, is rated for any size of gun. It's made for bigger guns, and this one in particular has what they say is a 500-pound tensile strength on it. I obviously didn't test that, but it does feel it. It feels more solid. Everything felt more secure when I was wearing this belt as opposed to this one. For the most part, on the leather belt, I was carrying around my SIG P938 with an inside the waistband holster, and slides in there like that. I wanted to just show you how much give the belt does give, how much it will hold this up. So in most cases it holds it fairly sturdy. I can go clear far out to these edges, see that? And it does. It holds something this size just fine. So this is what I wore for most of the days when I was testing these belts, but I did however load up this Beretta here, and with 17 rounds in it, it's quite a bit heavier. So let's slide that on there. You can see that that's pretty, rough on this belt too, getting it on and off. There's no signs of wear or marks or anything for that matter on when I'm putting this on. So it is empty in this case. It was a lot heavier when I had 17 rounds in it, but you can see it just doesn't quite hold it up. But again, you have to remember they do state that these are only meant for smaller or medium-sized guns, whereas this is definitely a full-sized gun. Quite a bit better than the leather side did. So very strong, very sturdy, very impressed. We've seen certain belts that have stiffeners in them. We've seen certain belts that have okay and decent styled buckles on them. We've never, however, seen both of those attributes with this track system that they've got on here for these track belts. Track line, I think, is what they call it. We haven't seen that. And once you go to one of these belts, it's really hard to go backwards because of how comfortable they feel. If you're just looking for something to carry because you may work in an office or at a desk or things like that, you could look into something like this, because this will carry something small just fine. So one more thing I want to show you, it's such a simple thing, but it makes me so happy inside about it, is it comes with a hanger. This hanger right here is for your belts. So you can hang this up in your closet, because I never have a place to put any of my belts. They're usually just strung through some hanger or rolled up in a ball and put on a shelf. You can slide these in, hold them up just like that, and they slip right off once you push that button. Kind of a nice feature that they come with, just because it's so easy to store these. They always look neat and nice in your closet. The last thing I want to mention, and it's a small thing, but we're here for the details here. I didn't notice it hardly at all on the tactical belt, but on the leather belt, however, every time I put this belt on, I can hear where it's sewn in to that core. It squeaks pretty good. So I'll be quiet and see if you can even hear it. So you can kind of hear it. When you're putting it on, you notice that, and it just sounds like something's not 100% tight in there. Very, very small detail. I would highly recommend these. If you guys have any questions about anything that you've seen here, in particular, feel free to drop a comment and a like down below if you liked what you saw. I'll love to answer it for you. That'd be fantastic. And feel free to use a discount code that they gave me. It's Paul Peckham 10, so PAULPECKHAM 10, and you can get 10% off if you want to buy one of these. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time.